Hello, and welcome to the Christina Loren Show, where we strive to dig into the stories that aren't getting a lot of coverage from the mainstream media. Before we get into it, a little background about me. I am a Christian, first and foremost, also a moderate conservative. This show affords me the opportunity to speak my mind, which is something that I've dreamt of doing for years after a very long career in television news. So, really grateful to have this opportunity to speak freely. That is what podcasting gives journalists. And I'm grateful that you are here with me for this inaugural episode. So without further ado, speaking of hopeful inaugurations, you can't deny he's a great dancer. Now, while my personal preference for President Donald Trump may be limited, there are two main reasons why I favor him over President Biden for this upcoming election. Number one, economic security for this country. And number two is personal safety while living here within the boundaries of the United States. Let's start with economic security. I can confidently say that President Donald Trump has a history of bold decision-making that has favored the American economy. And this is critically important as the world's economy depends on our success. The office of the USTR has this to say about it. Constituting less than 5% of the world's population, Americans generate and earn more than 20% of the world's total income. America is the world's largest national economy and leading global trader. Now, this success can be attributed to you, the hardworking American public. But right now, the future of the U.S. economy is in fragile territory. And because we live in a global economy and everything is tied together, something to consider is this. If our economy were to fail, many would suffer. So that's why I favor Trump in terms of economic security. The second reason is personal safety. Law and order is important to me. And I'm not here to relentlessly bash President Biden. He actually comes across to me as a genuinely kind-hearted individual. Does that mean that he deserves to be the leader of the free world? Absolutely not. From my vantage point, it's becoming increasingly difficult and downright sad to hear him flub his words as we're getting laughed at around the world. And our foreign adversaries, they're watching us closely for any signs of weakness. So it's pretty obvious to me that this is putting the future of America, hence the security of our families, at risk. And safety is one of the things that every American deserves to have. At 81 years old, he is already the oldest sitting president. So giving him 4 more years just seems like a bad idea. Our national debt is out of control, and it feels like we're spending money that we just don't have. That money comes from your tax dollars. And more importantly, I feel like I'm being lied to every time he comes out and acts like our economy's in great shape. Think about it like this. Who would you rather have as your investment banker? President Trump or President Biden? Who's gonna make your money go further? How about this? Who would you rather have as your bodyguard? President Trump or President Biden? All right, let's move on to the news that everybody is talking about. Today is June 1, the kickoff of the Atlantic hurricane season, but it's already stormy in the state of New York. The headline from the New York Times reads, Trump, guilty on all counts in hush money case. The former president was convicted on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in a case stemming from a payment that was allegedly intended to silence a porn star. Now, on this show, you're a huge part of it, and I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments, do you think the jury got it right? Just to let you know how off the rails this is, today, online, many of the left are actually celebrating what they see as a victory for a porn star. Now, according to the Adult Film Database, some of Stormy Daniels' notable films include California and Beaver Snacks. So on social media, there are people on the left who are actually elevating a porn star while tearing down a man who has a proven record of doing great things for our country. That is how wild this is. Now, in my opinion, the biggest loser from this trial is our children, because it demonstrates how hatred for one person and partisan politics can cloud the better judgment of a large group of Americans. People are celebrating the alleged extortion from a porn star who worked on a film called Beaver Snacks, not to be confused with Beaver Nuggets. All right, time to get into today's top stories. Up first, the catty clash between members of the U.S. House of Representatives. To set the stage, this video was captured at 8 p.m. on May 16th during a House Oversight Committee hearing, recommending that the House find Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress for refusing to comply with a subpoena. What you're about to see, however, is less about the AG and more about the growing partisan divide and how it's wasting time and money.
Mr.
Chair
Chairman,
recognizes Ms. Greene.
I'd like to know if any of the Democrats on this committee are employing Judge Merchan's daughter.
Please tell me what that has to do with Merrick Garland.
Is she a porn star?
Oh, Goldman. That's right. He's advising. Okay.
He's advising who? What? Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't
Point
think
of-
you
point
know
of
what
order.
you're here
President.
for.
Well, you the one talking about. I guess
I
she's still
think your
stuck in the
fake
courtroom.
eyelashes are messing up
No,
what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
That's beneath
would
even
you
you,
please
Mr. Green.
regain
That's beneath
order
even
of your
you.
committee?
Order. Not a
Mr.
point
I
of
do
order.
have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Greene's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you
meeting will
attack the
suspend,
physical
meeting will
appearance of another
suspend.
person?
Are your
Move
feelings hurt?
her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play. with
Baby
me.
girl?
We're gonna,
I don't
we
think
are going to
so.
move, and we're going to take your words down.
I
Thank you very
second that motion.
You agree to strike your words?
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
agree.
Ms. Greene agrees to strike her words.
I believe she
Chair
should apologize.
recognizes
No,
Mr.
she
Perry.
should apologize.
Okay, hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Greene
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then
Okay,
you're
reserve
not
the right to
striking your
object.
words.
I am
Mr.
not
Chair.
apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys.
Why don't you debate me?
Mr. Chairman, the
it's
minority.
pretty
No,
self-evident.
You're not.
Yeah, you're
out
not.
of order.
You don't have enough
You're out of order.
intelligence.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
Okay, move to strike
I'd
the.
like to
I
strike
move to
those
strike the
words
lady's
as well.
words.
I move to
I would
strike-
like
Order.
to strike
The
those
lady's
as well.
words again.
That's 2 requests to strike.
Ms. Greene, do you ask unanimous? Do you agree to unanimous consent to strike your words?
I repeat again for the second time. Yes, I'll strike
right.
my words,
That-
but I'm not
all right.
apologizing.
Without objection. Without
Not
objection.
apologizing.
Chair
Reserving the right to
recognize-
object.
No.
Chairman,
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Who's
It's me.
Ms. Crockett?
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman,
I'm
I make
trying to
a
find
motion to strike those
clarification.
words.
I don't think that's
Hold
a
on.
part
I'm
of it.
trying to find clarification on what qualifies.
Chairman,
I didn't-
motion to
I had
strike
no
those
idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just.
Oh,
said
You
Y'all
just,
did
you
it
just
first.
voted to do
Y'all did
it.
it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get
Okay.
clarification.
Look at, calm down, calm down.
No, because this
I
is
would
what
like to
y'all
get
do.
through proceedings.
So I'm trying
Hey,
to get
Ms.
clarification.
Crockett, you're not
Y'all wanna
recognized.
play
Ms.
games.
Crockett.
I can't hear you with your
And
yelling.
You don't want
Calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can
no,
you please calm
don't
down?
tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all
Please
talk
calm
noise
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take it.
control. You're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
recognizes
Not cute.
Ms. Greene for 4 minutes and 21 seconds. 4 minutes. Let Ms. Greene talk, and then you all can. I'll recognize.
But
the one
I
on
move
this
to
side.
strike her words for a second time based on her second set of personal remarks attacking another member.
Who?
Chairman Comer.
Because you all cannot
I have an
seem
amendment at
to
the desk, and
apply
this
the
sideshow
rules of the
needs to
committee.
stop.
We have to do this every time.
Hey,
Look,
I'm
look,
recognized.
look,
I'm
order,
recognized.
order.
I'm going to
Listen,
go ahead and start talking.
Look, I know. Look, I don't know if you've noticed it. I have 2 hearing aids. I'm very deaf. I'm not understanding. Everybody's yelling. I'm doing the best I can. Can we not recognize Ms. Greene and let
We
her get?
cannot because of the rules of the committee, Mr. Chair. That is what I'm trying to communicate in the present moment.
We have a Okay, what's the motion? What's
The motion is to strike the gentlelady's words for the second set of remarks, not the first, the second
She
that
has
apply
no
to me.
idea. She has no idea. I think, Mr. Chairman, I'm the
know what
only
the
one
words
recognized
were?
right now.
We objected at the time.
Will the member state the words she wishes
Yes.
struck?
She told me, or she asserted that I was not intelligent. These are the specific words. They're like, we can have it read by the clerk.
A lot to take in right there. The great Gerald Stanley Lee, an American minister, said, "America is a tune. It must be sung together." Now, if this hearing was a tune, I'd call it squandering public trust while spending our dimes. Hit it. I'd now like to address each of the women involved in one of our country's most shining moments. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Have you ever considered false eyelashes? Because I actually think that they would complement your look. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. First of all, you're a beautiful woman, and I love your lashes. I do think you may have taken it a tad too far. But you were not the central instigator. Oh no. That title is reserved for Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Not today.
Yeah.
Not today.
Gotta find some place where I can work. You just have to do it publicly.
We're not going to do a smarmy apology. She has to actually apologize. And that needs to be up to Ms. Crockett here. That's all it is.
She's not used to
doesn't
people
wanna
talking
say-
back to
She
her.
doesn't want to say sorry to nobody for nothing. She's going to learn. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
AOC, shut the door behind you on your way out of the hearing. Now, this issue could have been resolved quickly after Representative MTG agreed to strike her words following your point of order. While it's safe to say that nobody escaped from this spectacle unscathed, AOC, it seems to me like you're the one who bore the brunt of the wrongdoing here by perpetuating the drama. Nevertheless, despite my usual disagreement with most of your viewpoints, I have watched countless hours of you in hearings, and I will say you are intelligent. Now it gets even better. News travels fast in Washington, D.C., and once word got out that this was happening inside a hearing, other members of Congress showed up to watch.
We have some members in the room who are drinking inside the hearing room who are not members of this hearing.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, we have members who are not on this committee sitting in the hearing
we have
room.
members talking who haven't been recognized. Mr. Chairman.
I think these 17-hour days might not work for us.
Something about working, huh?
Yeah, maybe showing up for a vote.
You have a lot to say, being that you're on retainer for the judge's daughter. Sorry, trust fund kid.
Mr. Chairman.
We should strike those words too.
I hope you brought your
We-
popcorn.
Mr.
I'll
Chairman,
strike
we have to
those
strike
after
those as
we
well.
strike
Then,
the
Mr.
fact that they
Chairman-
called they were making comments about Marjorie's body. So we can do
Mr.
this all night
Chairman.
long, but I have a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
at
this
the
is out of
desk I'd like to
control.
get.
We should adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion at the desk.
Mr. Chairman,
I think my body's pretty good. I'm going to be 50
point of order.
this month. I am. I turned 50.
Indeed. Baby girl, MTG, recently turned 50 years old. She actually posted this picture of her in a bikini on X. She's 50 years old. She looks great. But something to consider, perhaps adding some lashes for that extra allure. Next up, we are going to navigate faith policy and transgender inclusion. I'd like to emphasize that from my Christian perspective, it's important to preface this topic by affirming that Jesus loves every human equally, and nobody should be treated poorly based on their appearance or who they love. God calls us to love Him with all your heart, soul, and mind, and to love one another as ourselves. Those are the guiding principles of my life. So I feel like the transgender conversation requires a sensitive balance and straightforward dialogue. We have to seek solutions, but it seems like no one's really working together to try to figure it out. And unfortunately, well-intended decisions are not being thought through, and that's causing unnecessary harm on both sides of the argument. And sadly, partisan politics seem to be hindering safe decision-making. especially in women's sports. This clip is from the KIPP Academy girls basketball game against the Collegiate Charter School of Lowell. This happened in Massachusetts. The video shows a 6-foot-tall athlete who identifies as a woman overpowering a female player who ends up on the ground, visibly pained. What happened in this instance is clearly unfair, and I would go so far as to say not right. So where and how do we draw the line when it comes to acceptance, fairness, and safety in the realm of women's sports? Well, how about instead of perpetuating the conflict, maybe we pursue realistic solutions through meaningful dialogue? And another challenge that we have to consider in line with this topic is happening within the American prison system. We now head to a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. This took place just last week, where Senator Ted Cruz challenged an order from a Biden judicial nominee.
In your court, what matters more? The rights of individuals or your political ideology?
I apply the law to the facts.
I asked you a question, which matters more?
My political ideology doesn't matter at all.
Okay, so I don't believe you. And I think this case demonstrates that you are willing to subjugate the rights of individuals to satisfy your political ideology. This case involves a male defendant who raped a 9-year-old boy. Was he guilty of that?
Yes, the petitioner pled guilty to that.
Okay, so he raped a 9-year-old boy. He also raped a 17-year-old girl. Was he guilty of that?
He pled guilty. The petitioner pled guilty to that crime as well.
So was he guilty?
I hope so, because she pled guilty to it.
He was a he when he did this.
That's correct.
And also criminal deviant conduct, which the record doesn't disclose what that was exactly. Then, after serving in prison, Mr. McClain was released for parole, but then violated the terms of parole by having internet and was sent back to prison. 1 year after being released again, he was convicted of having child pornography. Is that correct?
I'm unclear on exactly the time frame that you're at, but the petitioner was convicted of distributing child pornography.
Child pornography that was images of adults violently raping children.
Abhorrent conduct.
Okay.
For which there are real victims.
And this individual, 6'2", biologically a man. A minute ago, you said that when this man decided that he was a she, you said this individual was, quote, I wrote it down, sober and entirely a female. That phrase struck me as remarkable. Did this individual have male genitalia?
I think what I said, or at least what
that is a verbatim quote, entirely a female.
Sorry, what I meant to say was hormonally a female.
Okay, but that's not entirely. Did this individual have male genitalia?
Yes.
So you took a 6'2" serial rapist, serial child rapist with male genitalia, and he said, you know, I'd like to be in a women's prison. And your answer was, that sounds great to me. Let me ask you something. The other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Is that a question?
Yes. The other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Of course.
Do they have the right not to have a 6'2" man who is a repeat serial rapist put in as their cellmate?
Senator Cruz, I considered the facts presented to me, and I reached a decision.
I asked you a question. I asked you a question. Do they have a right not to have a 6'2" man who is a serial rapist put in as their cellmate? Do those women have a right to that?
Every person who's incarcerated has the right to be safe in their space.
She allowed a transgender rapist to be transferred to a women's prison. Now, the question here is, do you think this is justice? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you about this. Now, I am all for limited government, but when it comes to the safety of our people, our American citizens, I think that this is an area where we can open up the purse strings. I think it's a good idea for our lawmakers to consider opening up separate lockup facilities at the federal and state level for transgender inmates. If transgender inmates are getting harassed, we should do everything we can to protect them. And if women don't feel safe having a former rapist in their cell with them, this is also a very good reason to consider having separate lockup facilities that are suited to the needs of those involved. Now, clearly, my views are my own. Freedom of speech is one of the things that helps define our country's greatness. I just want to thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I really, really appreciate you. I'll post my next update for when my next show is going to come out on my Instagram page. That's where I post most frequently. Feel free to follow me there. Or like, subscribe, and follow my YouTube page, as that is where I'm going to post new episodes.